Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Command of Cold Steel. I'm just gonna go ahead and introduce myself. A lot of the people who will be watching this will have interacted with me before, but they don't know everything that I do on this channel. My name is Alex Shannon, and I am a video game reviewer and a Let's Player, and I also do some other things. Like, I did podcasts in the past, but stuff got in the way. And, well, I'm going to give you the rundown of the situation real quick. Um, so, there's this podcast that I like to listen to on a weekly basis. It's called The Soothing Sounds of Listening to Me Talk. It's published by S Serpent 21 over on his YouTube channel. It's it usually went up on either Sundays or Mondays, and usually is very interesting. You know, he talks about popular culture. He answers questions and stuff. He talks about wrestling, and it was actually what got me into wrestling. And he's actually decided to stop doing that podcast due to a number of reasons, which is why I'm doing this podcast. It's sort of a spiritual successor to the soothing sounds of listening to me talk. Now, first there was this thing with this guy named Jeremiah Bailey. He was going around on the channel, and he was asking a whole bunch of questions, and some of them were alright, some of them were kind of stupid. And it got to the point where he was attacking other people on the channel and whatnot, and he had to go. And, he was claiming that there was somebody else impersonating him, I think. Like there were two Jeremiah Baileys. But, I think we managed to figure out that that was not the case. I think Nikki Gaither and Elika Noai from the channel tracked him down and figured out what was going on there to a certain extent. And then longtime viewer Rising Maryland was doing some weird stuff. I didn't exactly see all of that. I did see most of the Jeremiah Bailey incident, but I didn't see all the Rising Maryland incident because I think I was busy that week. But as best I can tell, Rising Maryland was spamming the channel. I think there was some stuff going on there where he was. I think he also claimed that there was somebody with a duplicate account or hacking or something related to that. And that the Jeremiah Bailey incident led to a fairly interesting episode. Everybody was kind of like, "Whoa, what the hell?" And it was kind of funny having S Serpent read out the questions. And the Rising Maryland incident was just weird because Rising Maryland had been around for a long time. I think he'd been around since the beginning of the show, longer than I had. Sorry, I had to cough right there, and I needed to mute the microphone a bit so that I didn't so that you guys didn't get your ears busted. Yeah, Rising Maryland had been around for a long time, so that was kind of a weird thing. Jeremiah Bailey was like 2 or 3 weeks at most. And then there was this most recent incident. Another longtime viewer, Madness, was, it was like, I noticed that there was this account called Madness that had the same avatar as Madness and the same name, all caps, Madness, saying some, he was being a little more combative than Madness usually is. Madness tends to, just ask a whole bunch of wrestling questions and then leave, and then come back the next week and ask a whole bunch more wrestling questions and then leave. But this time I woke up and I saw notifications from Madness and Madness, and that kind of threw me there. I was like, what? But yeah, I figured it out, and there were two different Madness accounts. One which had been created rather recently, and one that I managed to figure out, okay, this is the old Madness. But then Nikki Gaither and Elevation and Alec Anoa'i are Elevation and Alec Anoa'i are the same person. They're just that's just his two usernames. Anyways, they managed to figure out that this is coming from the exact same IP address. It doesn't even come from like a different computer or anything. And then there was like a third Madness something, and then then along came S Serpent 69. I don't know who the hell S Serpent 69 is. Because, it's just, S Serpent 21, S Serpent, his real name is John. There's no, he says his real name on there all the time, and it's not like he can. It's no secret who S Serpent 21 is. Because, it's like with me. There's no secret who I am. I've got my name plastered all over everything. Me and my friends talk. We say everything. And say our names in our videos and things. Things just like that. S Serpent 69 is a guy who came onto the show like recently, and S Serpent 21, John, has told the story of how he got his name. S Serpent stands for Snow Serpent from G.I. Joe, because he thinks that's cool. Well, and I'm in no position to disagree. I'm not. The only thing I have as far as G.I. Joe experience goes is watching the first movie. Not even the animated movie, just the first live-action movie. And the 21 is just because he needed a number. So it's S Serpent 21. And then there's this guy, S Serpent 69. He's got like a big fat snake as his avatar that looks like he made in MS Paint. Actually looks worse than the Kiwi I traced up for Cyborg Kiwi's avatar, to a certain extent. Yeah, he's like, S Serpent 69. With a name like that, you think he's a troll, but, Alec Anoa'i was asking him some questions and stuff, and I'm looking at his question right now, and it doesn't look like he's actually some kind of a troll. And I'm not gonna judge the guy unless he does something stupid. And now we got, and then there was some guy who You know, Madness claims that there's a guy impersonating him, writing stuff in German on NecroVMX's videos. You guys know who NecroVMX is. That's John Sierra. He and Tanya Patelho make the Chronicles of a Dark Lord games. I was on Necro's show a while ago. I think it was about 3 years ago by now. And it's like, you know, S-Serpent got to the point, S-Serpent 21, John Nelson, because that is, you know, people know who he is. You know, his face is on there, his Facebook page, everything. You know, everybody knows who S-Serpent is. And, he got to the point where he was like, okay, this latest bout of trolling and impersonation and things like that is just getting, you know, they're going on other people's they're going on to my friends' channels and doing stuff. And unfortunately, the video that he put up for the Soothing Sounds finale, he deleted that. I was going to read some questions off of that to, you know, just read some comments off of that. Then maybe it could be used as questions for this show. But anyways, after that, you know, we've all posted our condolences and everything. You know, me personally, I've had hackers get into my actual accounts and mess with me. And I've had people try and impersonate me, not directly, but, you know, sort of try and make the moderators think that I've got a duplicate account that I'm messing with people. You know, and it's like, in some cases I have made duplicate accounts. It's like sometimes by pure accident, and because I forgot I signed up for a website or something, or, you know, for a video game where you can only have like one character per account, I'll do that if I want to make like a new character or anything. But on a forum, I usually don't, unless, well, it's like I don't, period, because I've never had any issue. And but I did that one time, where somebody, you know, the moderators thought somebody was me who wasn't, and it turned out to be this. I don't know if for sure who it was, but I'm pretty sure who it was. I'm pretty sure it was a hacker. Me and about a group of about 10 other people had a run-in with, which I'll get to that later. Now let's go ahead and get to the rest of the rundown. Today I'm going to be answering questions and comments from the last episode of the Soothing Sounds of Listening to Me Talk from 7/12/15. I'll try to put the link in the description or the comments down below. And you guys can go watch that if you haven't seen that. It's really good. S-Serpent 21's a really cool guy. The podcast is nice, even if you don't like wrestling, and he talks about other stuff. He's stopped doing it for right now, but the episodes are really good. I went back and listened to all of them one time, and they're really, really entertaining. Even the ones, even some of the slower or shorter episodes are really good. And, I'm going to try and talk about some things. I'm going to try and talk about wrestling. I'm going to try and talk about Fallout because it's the only thing. I am going to do and try and talk about Satoru Iwata if I can. And I've been sick for the last week, so I'll try and try and avoid talking about that. But before I get to the questions, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I've run into these people who, troll your YouTube channel. Back when I started a couple of years ago, I had all kinds of issues. I had trolls coming in and from all over the place telling me I suck, telling me that I'm, that my recording sucks, and the recording did suck. I'll admit that. It was a camera in front of a TV. Of course it sucked, but it was all I had. And so I did what I could. And I'm trying to move away from that. I'm trying to improve it. And, I had those guys coming in and telling me that I suck, telling me that I need to stop. And it's like, man, I don't care what you think. And that goes out to these guys that are out here trolling us, trolling S-Serpent, trolling the community that's formed around the Soothing Sounds. I don't care what you think. I do not give a damn what you want to say. If you're coming on here trying to ruin other people's fun, trying to disrupt something that gives people joy, is like whenever I see an episode of the Soothing Sounds of Listening to Me Talk pop up on my YouTube notifications, whenever I see the List Critics, Potato Cast, Counter Monkey, that's just a list of the things that I listen to, atop the fourth wall. Whenever I see stuff like that pop up, I get a little spark of joy. And I know that that's going to lead to something good. Because whenever I listen to that, I'm going to get a lot of work done that I probably wouldn't have been able to get done otherwise. I'm either going to get a lot of work done on an article, or a lot of work done playing like Story of Seasons, which is admittedly kind of a boring game, but not that bad. I'll even just to listen to it while I'm working on like while I'm trying to make a video game, and like when I pull up Steam and launch RPG Maker VX Ace, just making that little not even a video game I'm gonna release, really. It helps me get some work done. It helps me get my Japanese writing done, to listen to something like that. And it's like, sorry. The more questions that S-Serpent answers, the better. The more questions that like Necro answers, or S-Serpent answers, or anything. Be they about wrestling, be they about food, be they about Star Wars, Terminator, or anything like that. It's great to listen to because, hearing somebody else, talk and converse with their audience, or with each other in the case of John and Tanya, or John and Jesse over on the List Critics, that's it's great to listen to, and helps me get work done. It helps other people, do their thing. This community springs up around these discussions, these critiques of lists, these discussions of popular culture and wrestling and things like that. And to try and shut something like that down, to try and make something, because the soothing sounds of listening to me talk has evolved over time, Well, there are more people asking different questions than there were before, and that's just something that happens. And for somebody to be trying to either shut the show down or trying to shut down certain areas of discussion, like for instance, non-wrestling discussion or whatever, that's just mean. It's just wrong. And you guys should be doing something better with your time. I hope you have something better to do with your time, because if you don't, well, that's kind of sad. And I can't stand it when trolls try and come on and try and annoy people. We'll try and get them to stop doing what they're doing for whatever reason. Doesn't matter what reason. Because, I just saw a video up a couple of minutes ago posted by Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamers talking about how somebody went onto his channel and was telling him he needed to take down on this and this and this videos. Wasn't it? And he was saying no. I mean, it's like you're just coming on here trying to push your agenda. No matter what that agenda is, push it somewhere else. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter why you're doing it. You're trying to shut down people's fun. And that's what this is. People are having fun listening to this podcast. It's fun watching, listening to NecroVMX talking about, listening to him and Tanya and Jesse talk about stupid lists or really good lists or bad lists or things like that, joke lists. And it's funny listening to S. Serpent, whenever Krusty comes on hear him doing the sorry about that. I am still kind of sick. Whenever he comes on doing the kind of laughs, and Chucky Wood comes on with his questions, with his stupid questions about grilling and gardening and stuff like that. And Fuckosaurus Sex coming on with his little thing about going on to WrestleMania 33. You having to watch every single episode of WWE from now till then, or you'll get blown up with a weird, he comes on, he's funny, and Manic Scarecrow, who has his questions, and it's all fun, everybody has fun listening to it. And that to try and kill that, to try and shut people down because I don't know why, because you feel like you're having fun. You are the lowest of gum. Because you killed something that people liked here. I don't know who this person is. I don't know if it's more than one person. I don't know if it's all the same person. Because it could be. Could be different people. I don't know that. But for you to come in and shut this down, because this is what you did, you managed to convince S-Serpent21 throughout all your trolling to shut down the soothing sounds of listening to me talk indefinitely. You guys suck. There is nothing more and nothing less to say than you guys suck. I don't know where you guys came from. I don't know who you guys are. I don't know if you're a man or a woman or a little kid. This was not fun for me. Seeing that episode go up, the soothing sounds of listening to me talk finale. Little bit of fun died that day. But that's not what we're here to talk about. This is trying to bring a little bit of that fun back. So here we go. And then I'm just going to start off by reading a comment from me, which was continuing something that S-Serpent and I were talking about. Sorry. I was just saying that Fox doesn't have anything to do with the production of the Spider-Man movies. Columbia, which makes them, is exclusively owned by Sony. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think Fox ever had anything to do with them. There have been plenty of references between, the original Spider-Man and the Ang Lee's Hulk movie and the X-Men movies early on, but Fox didn't have anything to do with distributing or making Spider-Man, but I was able to find out that apparently Sony and Fox were looking at a crossover between Sony's Amazing Spider-Man series and Fox's Uncanny X-Men series sometime in the future. Apparently that agreement was canned by when Sony signed the contract that got Spider-Man into the Avengers with Marvel, which led to the whole removal of Andrew Garfield, Sally Field, the entire cast of Amazing Spider-Man, and the whole reboot crap. The third reboot. Well, second, technically. And, the crossover thing only went as far as a bit of cross-promotion between The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and X-Men Days of Future Past. And then, at one point in time, a whole bunch of questions disappeared and then reappeared. This is at the time where a whole bunch of... where it was like, YouTube would just like randomly not show part of the comments. Be it in the browser section or the mobile section, because I used to... Hold on. I had this issue where I was seeing comments disabled on my tablet whenever I would watch YouTube on that. And then it was just random. And then Krusty Balls Lickers says, "What happened to everyone's questions, Alex Shannon?" And I told him that, I told him what I thought happened. And because Madness and the Fake Madness or whoever went on to one of my questions, and he was spamming a whole lot and, you know, having weird conversations. And was just saying, hey, I'm having a conversation with myself. No, I'm not. This guy's impersonating me, and I don't know. I don't know what'll happen there. Apparently, there were 3 different Madness accounts, according to Elikanoi, and he posts under there saying that a video that Madness posted of and I don't know if that actually is Madness in the video. It's a little kid unboxing a bunch of stuff that he got from WWE, from the WWE website. And now here's Elikanoi says, word of advice for trolls, evil trolls specifically. Don't troll around on someone's page where one of the subscribers has a bachelor's in IT and IT security systems, because you will get caught. Want to have fun trolling? Go mess with PewDiePie or something. And it's funny because he actually turned off the comments on his channel. I was actually gonna suggest to S Serpent that we may like. Sorry, didn't get to the mute button fast enough. That we make like a subreddit or something where volunteers could, you know, police the questions and whatnot, so that he doesn't have to deal with it at all, you know. But that kind of fell short. But yeah, and then Alec finishes by saying, "If you do it here, I will own you. Have a nice day." And I will have to say, this. I might not have a bachelor's in IT and IT security systems, but I did manage to track one hacker. I did manage to track a couple of hackers, actually, to their routing servers. At least the general location of their routing servers. So, you know, we might not be CSI Cyber, but the community is tough, I guess you could say. We know we can do stuff. We've got resources. And then here I was asking him, you looking forward to Fallout 4? I've decided to do a Let's Play the first 5 Fallout games, to get caught up in time for release. And then I told him again, by the way, you can ask someone like Kevin MacLeod or somebody to make music for him, but you know, that's not going to happen. Manic Scarecrow. Tell what you think of these what ifs. Undertaker goes back to the WCW. Okay, I actually remember somebody. I can't remember who this was. Somebody. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember if that was me or somebody else who asked this question a while back. Hey, what if Undertaker stuck with WCW instead of going over to WWE? In fact, I'll try and go back and find that, I think. Let's go back a little bit. Try and find that and figure out who said that. Because I don't want to take credit for it if it wasn't me who said it. Because I think that was also paired with what if Triple H and somebody else stayed with... Triple H and Stone Cold. Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin stayed. I haven't found it yet. Okay, I don't know who said that. But yeah, somebody had one of us had a question about, you know, Undertaker stays with WCW. You know, what if the Dead Man came around for WCW? And, you know, that all depends on, you know, I'm not too big into wrestling. I got into it earlier this year, and I don't know all that much about it. I know some stuff that I've read on Wikipedia, stuff that these guys talk about and everything. And so I don't know a whole lot, but I will answer to the best of my ability. Undertaker either going back to WCW. If Undertaker went back to WCW after he came to WWF, he would probably not be able to call himself The Undertaker. He'd probably be me, Mark Calloway, again, or another character like that. But I don't know who came up with the Undertaker character, but I think it was Calloway who came up with that. I'm not entirely sure. If he had just stayed with WCW, you know, what if the Undertaker character had been there? Well, maybe it might have staved off the whole situation where the NWO got out of hand. Because I think, from what I heard, the NWO started off with Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Scott Hall, the former Razor Ramon, and Kevin Nash, the former Big Daddy Cool Diesel. And if the Undertaker had come around, you know, if the Dead Man came around as part of WCW, then maybe that would have added a little bit more momentum to Nitro in the Monday Night Wars. Might have given them a little more of a push, because I know a lot of people like The Undertaker. I know The Undertaker was a big hit. So maybe with that push, they could have, you know, something else had happened. And I was saying, you know, I'll go ahead and I'll read this down. Owen Hart lives. Owen Hart, I think that was the part of the Hart Foundation of Bret the Hitman Hart. I'll have to look that up, though, just to be sure. Take some drink of water. Owen Hart, Canadian pro and amateur wrestler, worked for New Japan Pro Wrestling, World Championship Wrestling. Let's wait for the page to load because I was just reading off the search engine there. Okay. Died in 1999 at the age of 34. It's all page is all screwed up. Let's go ahead and reload that because that's. Well, let's hope that can do better than bare HTML. Okay. Okay, yeah, his older brother was Bret the Hitman Hart. Died 1999 when an equipment malfunction occurred during his entrance from the rafters of Kemper Arena at the Over the Edge pay-per-view. Okay, I think I've heard about this. Death. Okay, yeah, he was. Okay, so they were planning on doing sort of like a Sting entrance. Yeah, this is I've definitely heard of this. Because Sting comes down from the rafters with his belt line. Okay, yeah, so let's go ahead and say this. The contributions to the PG era, as far as I can tell, were all of the accidents that were happening in professional wrestling for like the beginning of the from like well, the beginning of the 2000s. I'll betcha that this contributed to it. Sort of like the mass transit thing, sort of like yeah, I think the biggest part might have been the Benoit thing because he was all had a lot of brain damage. Benoit did, as far as I can tell, and let's go ahead and say this, and this is something that I said later on. When Owen Hart lives and Chris Benoit live, maybe we don't see the HD. Maybe we don't see the PG era. Maybe the HD universe era is known as something else. The HD universe era is the current era, the PG era. Maybe they stay at TV-14. Maybe they keep doing stuff like this, and then instead of Owen Hart dying, maybe instead of Owen Hart dying and instead of Benoit going crazy, and instead of mass transit bleeding out, maybe it's somebody else later on. Maybe Roman Reigns drops and his sternum shatters when he falls onto a turnbuckle. Maybe Daniel Bryan's neck gets broken in the ring and he's paralyzed for life. Maybe Triple H, in his match with Sting, gets hit in the hit in the head by Sting's baseball bat, or he hits Sting a little too hard with that sledgehammer back at WrestleMania 31. And maybe somebody else dies. Maybe somebody else dies later on. Maybe Triple H dies. Maybe Sting dies. Maybe this guy Neville, because he's the high flying and man who gravity forgot. Maybe he dies when something like this happens because they stop, because they're not being as careful. Because the reason why they're careful is because of these accidents. Accidents and the Benoit incident. That's as far as I know, at least. Maybe something crazy happens. Hell, maybe they'd never have any more accidents after that. Maybe they just never have any accidents if those incidents don't happen. Maybe they do have more accidents. Who knows? But yeah, that's what I think about Owen Hart living. Shawn Michaels goes to WCW. I'm gonna have to look Shawn Michaels up. The most I've ever seen of him is I have a Jakks action figure of Shawn Michaels, and and that's the only wrestling action figure I own, by the way. And his match with Ric Flair when the WWE put Shia LaBeouf saying, "Just do it," over top of it. This is the most I've ever seen of Shawn Michaels. Oh, WrestleMania. When he showed up to hand Triple H's sledgehammer. Let's go ahead and bring up Shawn Michaels here. Shawn Michaels joins WCW. The announcers said that Shawn Michaels is Triple H's best friend, so. And I think the Montreal Screwjob, people say Shawn Michaels had something to do with it. Let's see this here. Turn to WWF. Okay. Okay, so Diesel acted as Shawn Michaels' bodyguard and tag team partner when he was back in the day. I know that from Diesel's induction to the Hall of Fame. Let's see here. WWF champion. Return, retirement, return, retirement. Okay. Shawn Michaels joins WCW. Maybe, depending on what time he does that, maybe he becomes a founding member of the NWO rather than Hulk Hogan. Maybe it's him, Diesel, and Bret the Hitman Hart. Oh no, I just messed that up. No. Why am I confusing Scott Hall with Bret Hart? Jesus. Okay. Maybe it's Diesel, Shawn Michaels, and Scott Hall. Maybe, something like that. Maybe Hulk Hogan is part of the, maybe it's 4 members of the NWO. Who knows? If he stays with WCW, he doesn't become a part of DX. He probably doesn't get injured in his match against The Undertaker. Maybe let's just go ahead and say maybe he doesn't retire. But who knows? I mean, if he doesn't suffer that injury, that might be, that might contribute to something else. But yeah, if, maybe Shawn Michaels teams up with Sting to take on the NWO. I don't know. Sting joins WWF in the 90s or after 2001. Okay, so let's look up Sting here. I sort of know who Sting is because of what they... Oh, no, I don't want to see Sting the musician. I want to see Sting the wrestler. Okay, here's Sting. Steve Borden Sr. Only a little bit younger than the actual... Hold on. Yeah, he's like 8 years younger than Sting the musician. Let's see if Sting goes over to WWF, because he was going to go over to WWF in 2002, but he didn't join back then. Instead, touring with the WWA, World Wrestling All-Stars, and won that championship before joining TNA, Total Nonstop Action, the following year. And I also did the NWA, blah, 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 stuff after that. And then he finally joined WWE in 2014, making his first appearance at Survivor Series, where he ousted the Authority. So let's go ahead and say that Sting... Let's go ahead and say this twofold. Shawn Michaels goes over to WCW right when Sting is leaving the WCW. The WCW, the World Championship Wrestling. Let's go ahead and say that Sting leaves WCW right after Shawn Michaels goes over to WCW. Maybe Sting becomes a part of DX. And maybe Shawn Michaels becomes the Vigilante. And you know, that would contribute to a Shawn Michaels versus his Triple H match at WrestleMania 31, and it would have had Sting as part of DX backing him up. And Sting joins WWE. In the 90s, then he probably has to call himself something else. Let's call him the Scorpion for the sake of this. Let's call him the Scorpion or Stephen Bohr or something like that, something stupid. That's the root of his name. That takes a lot of, because from what I've heard, Sting was fairly popular back then. Sting was the reason why a lot of people watch WCW. John Cena talks about Sting in one of their things, and talking about how popular Sting was. Sting was the guy who got them into wrestling. Sting leaves WCW, he takes a lot of viewers with him. Shawn Michaels leaves WWE, he probably takes some viewers with him too. And, you know, that's that. Probably a whole lot of shake-up. If he joins WWE in 2002, I think, right after WCW breaks up, probably doesn't wait until Survivor Series this year to come around. Sorry, Survivor Series last year. You know, he probably doesn't join TNA Impact, which takes a lot of, which probably takes some momentum away from them, which probably leads to them sucking less later on. Because from what I haven't watched it, from what I hear, they just screwed up there. So yeah, that's sort of what I think would happen if that happens. Andre the Giant lives. Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant lives. They don't have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which means Which means Curtis Axel has to shut up about something else entirely. Okay. He probably... Andre the Giant doesn't die. He might have made a comeback in the 90s, you know, a heel turn or a face turn or what. Yeah, I think he was a heel. Yeah, because he was feuding with Hulk Hogan. So Hulk Hogan was the big hero back in the 90s. So not 90s, 80s. He was a big hero back in the 80s, so babyface, whatever. So Andre had to be the heel. So what if, Andre turns face? Again, I don't know specifics. Andre turns face, and maybe he becomes even more of a big deal as time goes on. Well, maybe he has, like, maybe his kids go into wrestling. Maybe he has more kids, they go into wrestling and whatnot. Stuff like that. Maybe he gets, something else. Something happens where he becomes, I don't know, maybe he runs the company. I don't know. Maybe he manages to acquire enough money to buy WWE. I don't know. That's the least thought out version of anything. Because I don't really know a whole lot about Andre the Giant. I know a little bit more about Sting and Shawn Michaels than I do about Andre the Giant. Sorry. British Bulldog lives. I don't know who the British Bulldog is, so I'm gonna have to look that up. British Bulldog. There was a game called the British Bulldog. Davey Boy Smith. Let's see, when did he die? What was his cause of death? There we go. Suffered a heart attack on vacation. Okay, so if he doesn't use steroids, he probably just goes on to become more of a... Let's scroll up here. Now maybe he goes on to become a little more of a legend than he is now. I know very little about him. Maybe he leaves WWE and goes on to TNA Impact or something, and maybe that contributes to them sucking less. I don't know. Okay, Hulk Hogan turns heel in '92. I know a lot of people say that Hulk Hogan should have turned heel a lot sooner than he did. Let's figure out when Hulk Hogan's heel turn was. Hulk Hogan. Let's see, Hulk Hogan's... heel turn. WWEWCW. Okay, I think he turned... Yeah, I think he turned... Yeah, Bash at the Beach was when he turned heel, as far as I know. Oh, he had a feud with Big Show, back when he was called the Giant. Okay. So let's, rewind a bit and say, okay, and go ahead and say that Hulk Hogan turns heel, because I think Hulk Hogan turned heel in 1993. No, 1994, okay. Because he went, that was New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, it was Bash at the Beach 96 when he turned heel. Okay. Okay, so that's a good 4 years before he actually turned heel. And people say that he should have turned heel earlier than he did. Sorry. Anyways. Yeah, people say that he should have turned heel before he did. Turned heel in 1996. And after about 15 straight years of face. You know, he turns heel in 92. That would be back when he was with WWF. So he turns heel with WWF, and maybe he sticks around with WWF. Maybe there's an NWO equivalent that pops up, and you know, like I said, maybe Shawn Michaels in this hypothetical scenario goes over to WCW and becomes replaces Hulk Hogan as part of the NWO. Maybe the NWO doesn't even come about. Yeah, and maybe that makes the Monday Night Wars become less of a thing, you know? Maybe, that WWF's biggest star, WWF's biggest star stays around. And they don't give that, they don't have that, they don't have the invasion over in WCW, at least not with the same momentum it would have had if they had Hulk Hogan. Maybe Hogan doesn't join Impact later on. Maybe he stays around with WWE. Which, maybe he doesn't make the terrible Kinect game. Anyways, that's it for that part. Hulk Hogan and Macho Man remain in the WWF. That's actually part of what I was saying earlier. Or Hulk Hogan maybe stays with the WWF and doesn't go over to WCW. Macho Man stays with the WWF. WWF. He definitely doesn't become a part of the NWO. We're talking like, partially taking power away from WCW right here. Or, so, who knows? That probably takes some power away from not Vince McMahon. Probably takes power away from the Monday Night Wars, which might lead to killing wrestling entirely. WWE brings back WCW in the form of a new show. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't think that ever actually could happen, because Vince McMahon just likes to sit on those tapes and say, I won, They use it to promote the network and crap like that. And, I don't really think that ever actually could happen. And because to call it Nitro and call it Thunder and things like that. And first off, it's a pun. Monday Nitro, If you really want to bring it back, bring back the pay-per-view names. Like, call Call whatever the December pay-per-view is Starrcade, because I think that's when they aired it. Yeah, it's like go back and use all the pay-per-view names, because calling it Money in the Bank, Fastlane, seriously, Elimination Chamber ain't that bad, but call it No Way Out, please. Extreme Rules, seriously. Call it No Mercy. Call it something, Bring back the old pay-per-view names, because they are kind of stupid. I will have to admit that. And I am a new fan. The Rock goes to WCW, actually goes to WCW instead of WWE. Rock going over to WCW? Oh, that is a big thing right there. That would be huge. Is The Rock is, when you think wrestling, who do you think? You think Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena, and maybe The Undertaker. That is like the main three that you think of are going to be either The Rock, Hulk Hogan, and Andre the Giant. Probably going to like throw the Macho Man in there, or the other big stars. But yeah, The Rock is one of the big people that you think of when you think wrestling. You think wrestling, Rock. Think wrestling, Stone Cold. Old people like that. If he joins, if he doesn't follow in his father's footsteps, and if he goes to WCW, then, maybe they get, maybe they get some more momentum from that. And, oh, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? He's, he might become their big thing. They might have survived if they had The Rock. And WWF might not have survived if they hadn't had The Rock. And, that's a possibility. I don't know if it's a probability, but it's possible. Thank you, Manic Scarecrow. Moving on. Okay, here's something that I actually added to that. I wanted to say, I'd like to add this to the following what if. I'd like to add the following what ifs. What if the Ultimate Warrior lives? I don't have an answer for that. Because, I don't know how that would have affected everything, mate. Who knows. Chris Benoit lives. Probably like what I said earlier about the Owen Hart thing. It probably doesn't contribute to them going quite as PG as they have recently. Also, there'd be one less thing for the conspiracy theorists in the wrestling community to talk about. Sorry, I've got a cough drop. And here's something really weird. And this is something that I really wanted S. Serpent to answer. Stephanie McMahon joins WCW and Triple H stays with WCW. For the questions that I can't answer from this, I'd like you guys to tell me what you think. Because it's like, Warrior lives, I don't know what happened. I just wanted to know what he thought would happen. Stephanie McMahon joins WCW and Triple H stays with WCW. I don't know what would happen. I wanted him to say what he thought. Because it was just an idea that popped in my head. I think Triple H staying with WCW as Jean-Paul Levesque, he probably would have, he wouldn't have become as big as he is now in WWF, but if Steph had gone over there, they might have still had their little thing, but, who knows. This Elevation. What's going on here? Why is Madness acting all crazy? I'm going to let Nikki know about this and have her run the IP addresses of him and the imposter and see if they match. We've had enough of this with Jeremiah Bailey and Rising Maryland. Yeah, and I said to him, sounds like a plan that I'm going to repost one of my questions because of that imposter. I didn't. I actually wound up posting a duplicate because I didn't realize that it hadn't been deleted. It had just glitching out. And then Elevation said that Alex Shannon and Nikki just found out that there was no imposter. Apparently this Madness dude is from Germany and created the both accounts. Same IP address. And then I said, this is starting to get ridiculous. I checked out Madness's profile and I saw he was German. Maybe we're not looking at a bunch of people going nuts or even multiple imposters. Maybe somebody's spoofing IPs and we're seeing the work of a single person intent on messing with us. And Elevation says, you're right, I just checked his profile, but Nikki used to work IT before becoming a nurse. She has top-notch software and can identify IP addresses accurately. Can't copy IP addresses, not that I'm aware of. She is 100% sure Original Madness is behind it. Maybe he had a bad week or something. That's the weird thing. I have bad weeks all the time, but I never have the compulsion to take it out on people on the internet. Unless, of course, those people happen to be posting stuff from WorldNet Daily or whatever. And then he asks, Alex Shannon, does anybody impersonate you on social media? And then I essentially told the story I told at the beginning here. Here, people have impersonated me on forums, hacking into my accounts, and in one case I actually got permabanned because of all the crap that the hacker was doing. Plenty of incidents of hacking against email, social media, and forum accounts lasted for... Yeah, that was like between 2010 and the beginning of 2012, I think? I don't know. And then Elevation says, that sucks, man. Nikki is home now. She's showing me everything. Based on her info, the IP address isn't spoofed. She told me it's impossible to do. Madness probably got pissed at Serpent because he asked him to stop asking him questions about current WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah, that's something that I'm going to have to say right here. S. Serpent hasn't watched a whole lot of wrestling because he got kind of irritated with how they were handling Raw. And I haven't watched a whole lot of wrestling because I haven't had the time. Last episode of WWE I watched was the Monday Night Raw right after WrestleMania. And he says same computer, same location in both accounts. Originated from the same IP address. It sucks because he was kind of cool. Yeah, I have to agree with that. I love New Japan Pro Wrestling too. It's a far superior product to the garbage we have in the U.S. We don't have garbage here in the U.S. It's, they don't handle things as well as they could, but I wouldn't call it garbage unless you're really talking about TNA Impact, which really does sound horrible in the way they manage things. Or, the Royal Rumble. And I said, I wonder if this is a coincidence or if there's something weird going on, because we've had this from 3 different people and it's starting to get suspicious. And Elevation says it's probably a copycat phenomena. Then I say, true, but the last time I had something like this happen, it turned out to be one man behind it all. Oh, and then Elevation says, Rising Maryland and Jeremiah Bailey are probably the same person. And then probably also Humble the Clown and the fake Fart Man. Yeah, we'll get to Fart Man Nelson later on. And then I say, hey, which leads to the conclusion that maybe Madness is too, and then Elevation says, no way, I'll see if Nikki has those other IP addresses. And then I tell him about a guy I ran into, the Eternal Darkness, who was keeping up a handful of fake profiles at a time, in addition to having a few that fake identities at a time, and in addition to having some that he'd literally stolen from people. Chucky Wood. Oh, thank you, Elevation. Chucky Wood. Hello, where's everybody at? Feel like a lonely woodchuck over here. John Loves Cock, Fart Man, and Alec Nicky, Fuckosaurus, Gabe Tough, Manic Scarecrow, and Krusty Balls Lickers. Where are you guys at? Hello, hello. Here's my question. If a plane crashes, haha, just kidding, here are my real questions. Why do Japanese wrestlers get both belts and trophies? Isn't the belt the trophy itself to represent your champion? Do they get to keep the trophies? Because if they get to keep... I know they don't get to keep the belt. But if they get to keep the trophies, then that would be, that would be like a physical representation of their win that extends beyond the time that they hold the belt. I don't know if that's the case. That's just, feel free to correct me. Sony Pictures decides to remake the Goonies film. Would you like to see it? What would you like to see in the movie? I like to see Andrew Garfield because he's a great actor and he's not getting the fair shake he deserves from Sony. I haven't ever seen the Goonies, so. If you're a pro wrestler, please describe the following. Entrance music. Wrestling attire. Finisher. Okay. Entrance music. Something like The Touch. Something like The Touch. Dare to Believe. It's just called Dare, but you get what I mean. I'd probably ask Stan Bush to write something. Wrestling attire. Blue jeans, green t-shirt, black sweatshirt. That's what I usually wear when it's not summer. Finisher, probably some variation on the RKO, because I really like that. Maybe something where I jump off the top turnbuckle and push the guy's shoulders down onto the mat. Tell us about some RPGs that almost made you break your TV because they were so hard to beat. Well, Chronicles of a Dark Lord. Chronicles of a Dark Lord is a really tough game. I was underleveled throughout a lot of that game, I think. That wasn't exactly that. And episode 2, when I fought the first boss. No, when I fought the second boss. The actual last boss, actually. Sorry. That was really frustrating for me, but especially when I lost. But the final boss, that was like a 10-minute fight there. That was great, though. There was one time in Fire Emblem Awakening where I just got sick and stopped because I was trying to recruit Donald, and that I kept not being able to keep as many people alive as I wanted to. And that's like the only time I've let one character die, because it was Scully. And I just got sick of it, and I stopped. I haven't actually played a whole lot of RPGs, now that I think about it. Oh, Final Fantasy III. Final Fantasy III on the DS. So many random encounters. So many issues with that. And it's like I'm trying to get through there, and it's you can't save in dungeons. That's stupid. And it's like the amount of times I've died in that game. That's just... Okay. Tell us which are your top 10 wrestling entrance themes of all time. Okay. Hulk Hogan, Real American, Undertaker, whatever the hell his theme song is right now. Dolph Ziggler. Daniel Bryan, Flight of the Valkyries. Dolph Ziggler, whatever his current theme song is. I can't remember. Here to Show the World or something like that. Roman Reigns, The Truth Reigns. I can't count the Shield after that. I like the Shield's theme song, but it's the same song. It's got the three of them. I'm going Sierra Hotel, India Echo, Lima Delta, Shield at the beginning. Gold Dust. That's pretty cool. Oh, Paige. Her theme song. That's nice. Really like that. Sorry, I'm sucking on a cough drop right now. Let's go ahead and say... John Cena and Seth Rollins. Whatever their stuff is right now, because I know that's lame, but that's just like, it took me a while to try and figure out 10 pro wrestling theme songs that I like. I like the Raw theme song, and I'd like the SmackDown theme song a lot better if it wasn't just the same thing repeated twice. And then here's his list, Chucky Wood's list, Doink the Clown. Okay, all I know is that he throws car batteries at people. Gold Dust, okay, nice. Bertha Faye, no idea. Deuce and Domino, okay. Cody Rhodes, original music. I can barely remember his Stardust music right now. Eugene, meh. Mark Henry, I think isn't his theme song just saying, "And somebody gonna get their ass kicked?" Undertaker, cool. Spirit Squad is number 9. Okay. Heath Slater. You're not exactly listing off which theme song, so I don't know. And then Fuckosaurus X says, Chucky Wood, fear not, spelled with a PH. The mighty Fuckosaurus X is here to bite and stomp evildoers into submission. And Chucky Wood says, yay! BTW, did you get to see the Epic Madness video? It was hilarious. Krusty Balls Liquor sent me the link. Also, did you borrow my Best of Jenna Jameson DVD? I swear Fartman told me... I read this question earlier, and it doesn't make any... It's not any less funny. I swear Fartman told me you threw a sex party at my pad while I was attending a Groundhog Day convention. Yes, all evildoers shall perish at the hands of the mighty and very horny Fuckosaurus. I remember when I first saw the... when Fuckosaurus Sex submitted his lists to the list critics. When NecroVMX read that name, I couldn't stop laughing. 'Cause that's... And Fuckosaurus Sex says, indeed I did. Didn't I? Sorry, I found it rather funny that somebody who posted in German and railed against Americans like a disgruntled 20-something is actually a little kid with a Midwest accent. I do not believe I misplaced your Jenna DVD unless I accidentally sorted it under educational material rather than porn. Okay then. And then Chucky Wood says, lol, I'll bet he's a military brat. My Aunt Dolores lives in Germany. My cousins speak both English and German but have northeastern accents. And Fuckosaurus Sex says, in what way is my Jenna Jameson DVD considered educational material? I wish I wasn't recording this in the middle of the day, maybe because I have people in the room with me, but they have to laugh at me, and because they're not reading this. Fuckosaurus Sex says, I don't know, it gave me some education about dad ass. And then Chucky Woods says, this Fuckosaurus Sex is a great ass. You guys are nuts.
This sucks.
You guys are nuts, people.
Seriously.
Manic Scarecrow. Thank you, Chucky Wood, by the way, and Fuckosaurus Sex. Manic Scarecrow. Now time for the dream matches. If some of these actually happened, let me know. Oh, I watch a lot of wrestling, but I don't remember every match. But I do know a lot of them. Goldberg versus Jimmy Snuka. Never heard of either of them. Well, I actually have heard of either of them. Never seen them wrestle. Bam Bam Bigelow versus Kurt Angle. Okay, I don't know who those people are. Never seen him wrestle. Daniel Bryan. Let's look up Daniel Bryan. See if he's talking about Daniel Bryan. See if he's talking about Daniel Bryan. Oh, sorry. Let's figure out who Daniel Bryan is. Okay, when I look it up, it comes up with Daniel Bryan, so I'm gonna assume that you mean Daniel Bryan versus IRS. It might be a good match to watch because Daniel Bryan's in it, but I don't know. Goldust versus the Honky Tonk Man. Haven't seen a Honky Tonk Man wrestle. Goldust is pretty cool though. Random furries in suit versus New Jack. Well, depends on who's in the suit, you know. Or Abdullah the Butcher, maybe both of them. John Cena versus IRS. Moving on. The Blue World Order. Okay, I'm going to have to look that up. See if that's a real thing, or if Manic Scarecrow's just messing with us. Excuse me. The Blue World Order. Come on. The BWO. was a stable of professional wrestlers formed at ECW. Jesus Christ. So apparently it was Steve Richards and the Blue Meanie. Jesus, man. This is stupid. This is crazy, man. Hollywood Nova, parody of Hulk Hogan. The Blue Guy, parody of the Bad Guy, Scott Hall. Big Stevie Cool, parody of Big Daddy Cool. Okay, what was the question again? The BWO versus the Legion of... Let's call Legion of Doom, because the Blue World Order looks stupid. Hulk Hogan versus Sandman. Bret the Hitman Hart versus Benoit. I hear that they're both good, so okay. Illinois. And he says Bret Hart wrestled Chris Benoit in 1999 on WCW Nitro. Owen Hart tribute match. Also fought again on WCW Mayhem 99. Final. It was the final for the vacant WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Bret won with a sharpshooter. October 24th, 1994, Dustin Rhodes faced off against the Honky Tonk Man. Okay, so that Gold Dust and Honky Tonk actually did fight. Thank you, Illinois and Manic Scarecrow. I don't know if this is the real Gabe Tuff or if it's somebody else. Here's Gabe Tuff saying, "Do you think Michael Jackson ever lost to children?" And I went on to say, I could go on for this for hours, but I'm not going to. I replied to him saying it was proven in a court of law that he didn't, first off. Second, most of the kids denied it, and the ones who didn't were found out. Yeah, that one kid was actually found to have been drugged with a dental anesthetic that makes people really suggestible to, make them really susceptible to suggestion by his dad, and a lot of the so-called evidence didn't match up to reality. If you want to look into it further, you can, but I've already written dissertations on it already. So, okay, Gabe Tuff. Again, thank you. I'll say thank you, Gabe Tuff, in a minute. Random question time: Metallica or Nirvana? I've listened to more Nirvana than I have Metallica, but I don't like Nirvana, so I'll have to go Metallica, I guess. Transformers or GoBots? Transformers from G.I. Joe, Duke or Flint? Let's just say Duke, because that sounds like a cool name. Zartan or Destro? Don't know. Serpentor or Dr. Mindbetter? Don't know. Don't know who those are. Steak or pork? Neither. Preferably spaghetti. Pizza. Buffalo Wild Wings or Hooters Wings? Don't know. Barbecue. Chips or sour cream and onion chips. Barbecue chips, all the way. But salt and vinegar are the best. On hot dogs, sauerkraut or onions? I'll always go with onions if I have the choice between sauerkraut or onions. I'll have sauerkraut and onions, but I like kimchi the best. Soap operas or game shows? Oh, please, neither. Thank you very much. I don't like either of them. Family Feud or Wheel of Fortune? I actually answered some things below here. I don't know if it's going to match up, but I'm just going to say, hey, Family Feud is funnier than Wheel of Fortune, because Steve Harvey, he is hilarious. But, then again, this is the show that had the Honey Boo Boo family on, so Wheel of Fortune just is kind of boring to me. Mountain Dew or Sprite? I've currently got a bottle of Sprite in the fridge, but I like Mountain Dew, because, one Mountain Dew is usually enough to get me through a game of D&D. Ice cream, mint chocolate chip, or cookies and cream? I think mint chocolate chip, maybe. Cookies and cream, though, is good. Baseball or basketball? I'll go with basketball, because that's, baseball got kind of boring after a while. And Chris Rock or Dane Cook? Never heard of Dane Cook, so I'll have to go Chris Rock. Fruity Pebbles or Fruit Loops? Fruit Loops. Eggs and bacon or French toast? French toast. Hell in a Cell or Elimination Chamber? I haven't watched either of them. Dr. Chase Meridian or Vicky Vale? Well, Chase Meridian is from Batman Forever. She might be from something else, too, but she's from Batman Forever. And, well, Vicky Vale. I've seen Vicky Vale in All-Star Batman and Robin, too. Neither of those are very good, but they're terrible in different ways. I have to go with Vicky Vale. Christmas or Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving is, got a lot of good food. Christmas just means the year is ended, and I'm gonna spend the whole month reflecting on what all I've done over the last year, so it's kind of depressing. Thank you, Gabe Tuff. Mitch Connor, hey, what happened to my questions? Everything is disappearing. Thanks a lot, Madness. And then Elation says, apparently Madness went nuts, created duplicate accounts, and began to spam the channel with silly Japanese wrestling questions. He also posted a video of him. Might not have been him. I don't know. Unboxing WWE merchandise. I guess Serpent cleaned most of the mess and left a couple legitimate questions. Ugh. Hear me fart. It is I, Fartman Nelson, 79. I have returned to do away with evildoers. I shall lay my thundering butt queefs across your face and make you quiver in fear. My odious butt gas will render all evildoers useless. Now I must send down a raging round butt tornado against Madness for joining the dark side of evil trolls. Your video proved nothing except that you have a penchant for affinity for over-the-top consumerism, just like us Americans with our TVs and Snuggies. I hope you enjoy the barbecue sauce, Madness. This is the Undertaker sign. Now that I've voiced my opinion over the whole Madness debacle, it's time for some questions. Okay, Fartman, I'm not going to answer these questions because I'm not going to answer the questions about the Howard Stern show because I've never seen the Howard Stern show. So I'm just going to skip from number 1. I'm going to skip questions 1, 2, and 3 to go straight to number 4. And then I'm also going to skip number 5 because that's directed to S-Serpent specifically. If you were stranded on a desert island for 2 weeks with nothing but drinking water, what are the top 5 things you would eat after you were rescued? Fried okra, pizza, some pasta dish that I spent a lot of time making and a lot of time eating. Some sort of grilled cheese concoction and with bacon. And baked potato, why not? And Fuckosaurus X says, a mighty dinosaur walks into the room with a star-spangled old hat on and the stars and stripes on his mighty tail. As it enters, it shouts, America, fuck yeah, and begins singing along to the song. For I am Fuckosaurus X, and I am an American horny dinosaur. Fart man, let us take to the mean streets of YouTube and the Fartmobile, proclaiming no troll shall stand in our way. These guys get up to some crazy shit. And Fartman says, America, fuck yeah, it is I, Fartman. All evildoers shall choke in the grasp of your fierce yet very tiny arms. We shall clean up the messy streets of YouTube and send all evil-doing trolls to the pits of hell. Yeah, Madness. You may have noticed that the thumbnail for this is an American flag with some crap on top of it. Part of the reason for that is because Madness was, saying, oh, you crazy Americans, blah, 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 things like that. And I just wanted something that was kind of striking for this. I figured this is kind of cool. Now here is S-Serpent 69. Hey there, longtime viewer of your wrestling action figure reviews, first-time listener and commenter. I've listened to about 3 or 4 of your most recent podcasts, the soothing sounds of listening to me talk and I have to say they're very entertaining and hilarious. Yeah, they are. That's part of the reason why I started listening to them. And because List Critics is only a twice-a-month show. And I started running out of Linkara videos. And Film Brain videos. And Todd in the Shadows videos. Do you believe the quality of paint used in today's current wrestling action figures is better than it was in the 80s and 90s? I don't know a whole lot about wrestling action figures, but I do know that quality of action figures lately, just for action figures in general, has gone down. As you say, you look at the Power Rangers figures from RPM, and then you look at the ones from Dino Charge, like the standard figures, and they're tiny, and they look all cheap, and the paint isn't right. Yeah, what is your opinion on the Mattel Elite Series 37? I'll have to look that up. And how many figures in that line do you own? Which one did you miss that you regret? I don't have any particular desire to buy wrestling figures. I mean, I've got my Shawn Michaels. I'm happy with that. I mean, if anything, I'd like maybe a Sting and a Roman Reigns and a Daniel Bryan, maybe. Probably a Triple H. Who knows? But I probably won't. I probably won't get those because I spend money on computer hardware and video games. What new innovation would make wrestling action figures even more valuable? I'd say just to make them better rather than more valuable. Make them cheaper. Not like cheaper materials. We'll lower the price. Because at the price they are, elites are way too much. This is just from what I've seen. Also, better distribution. Because we've got CM Punk's with the old scratch logo from WWE still at my Walmart. Have you ever finished an entire 18-inch pizza in one sitting? Personally, I haven't. It was great. I get it from Jerry's Pizza and Subs. How long have I been going? Okay, about an hour and 40 minutes. That's okay. We're almost at the end. No, I have not. I have finished an entire pizza, though. Both small and big pizzas. What or who inspired you to become an action figure collector? Many people say, hey, that us collectors waste our money on toys and could better invest that money. Your thoughts on that? Well, almost all of my action figures I get for like pennies or free. So, I keep around Transformers and Power Rangers stuff, and if I find like a wrestling action figure in that, I won't turn it down if it's, cheap or free, but yeah. Do you own any Thundercats or He-Man action figures? No. Thoughts on Shane McMahon actually acquiring the rights to WCW and relaunching it? I'll have to look that up. I don't know if that's entirely true. I think WWE still exclusively owns the rights to that. Let's look that up real quick. Let's look at Shane McMahon. So there should be something on Wikipedia about him owning, regaining the rights to gaining the rights to WCW. Okay, business career. Personal life. Okay. Shane McMahon. WCW. Okay, I'm only getting results from the from the actual show. I'm getting stuff from 2007. This has apparently been a rumor for a long time, so I'm going to go ahead and say that's probably not going to happen. What was your favorite year in wrestling during the 90s and the 2000s? Don't include the 2010s because it sucks. I'm going to have to include the 2010s, man, because I know that you directed this at S. Serpent, but since I'm the one reading the questions, I'm going to have to include the 2010s. It has to be 2015 because it's the only year of wrestling I've ever watched. Did you ever watch any Bruce Lee movies? No. What's your favorite? Don't have it. What are your thoughts on Shawn Michaels' return at Mania 32? That'd be pretty cool. Thank you, S. Serpent69. Please change your name to something else. Mitch Connor. Hey, Mitch Connor here. I know you've mentioned on the show that you aren't very fond of seafood. I'm not. I don't eat seafood in general, actually. However, would you be willing to try fish tacos? Those topped with a delicious sour cream and lime sauce, grilled corn niblets, and lettuce. Remove the fish taco. Remove the fish from the fish taco, and that would be good. Which fast food chain makes the worst tacos? Probably all of them. But I wouldn't know. Because I don't eat tacos, I eat burritos. There. Some fashion trends from the 80s that you love. Essentially just take a look at Top Gun and look at the, what's her name? The female leads. Her hairstyle and hairstyles like that. I really like that. There's also the, the general look of the 80s was kind of cool. Least favorite, though, would have to be like the Cyndi Lauper look. She looks like Boy George. On a previous podcast, you mentioned that you would choose that this was S Serpent mentioned that he would choose the colorless Game Boy of the Sega Game Gear. Tell us why. Okay. I can't speak for S Serpent, and don't expect. I don't claim to be, and don't expect me to. But I would choose the Game Boy over the Game Gear. Okay, first off, Legend of Zelda, which is my favorite series. Second, Pokemon, which is really cool once you get into it. Once you get past it, it gets really nice. Once you get past the the initial weird factor, it's pretty cool. The platformers are better. I guess that's it. And really, the Game Boy had better games. Because the Game Gear had Sonic games, and while I usually say that Sonic games are better than Mario games, the Game Gear Sonic games were terrible. They were all just horrible. It's like they did not control well. The level design sucked. And it was like the graphics were hard on the eyes. I don't know if this is an issue with the ports that I played, but the controls sucked too. Were you a fan of the Captain Planet cartoon series? Never watched it. Only ever seen like Captain Planet and the Planeteers reviews by Linkara and the Nostalgia Critic. Did you wish you could be a Planeteer? I'd rather be a Green Lantern. Personally. Who's your favorite actor of all time? If given the opportunity to interview him and you can only ask him 3 questions, what would you ask? Well, that's a big question. I don't really think I have one specific favorite actor, so I'm gonna have to skip that. And this is specifically directed at S Serpent saying that he tried duck tacos. Did you ever watch Hogan's Heroes? Yes, I have. I haven't watched a whole lot of it, though, so I can't give my thoughts on Colonel Klink. If you open your own sandwich shop and named a sub after you, what are the ingredients of the Serpent sub? Yeah, that all the ingredients of the Cold Steel sub be. Obviously it would come on a steel tray. I probably have like lettuce and ketchup and mustard and provolone cheese and tomato and bacon. And there's like maybe a grilled bun. I don't know. Chipotle is awesome. Mitch Connor, vegan friendly too. That's Nikki Gaylor saying that. Looks like the Madness guy is writing weird stuff in German on many of NecroVMX's videos. This is Mitch Connor saying that. Yeah, Mitch Connor and Nikki Gaylor again. I was watching the Paper Mario videos and commented on German in one of them. Hospital isn't too busy tonight. I only had to deal with 2 deliveries and the mothers and babies are doing well. And Madness says, no, this guy. It's the guy trying to stealing my identity and uses Google Translate. If that is what's going on, I'll have to, but, Nikki Gaither is saying that it's not, so I'll have to, lean towards her side. That's going to do it for questions. Today we're coming in about hour and 52 minutes almost. So, yeah, I've been sick lately. Let's get to the topics. I've been sick lately, and I was coughing all night when I was running D&D on Thursday. Coughing all the time while I was talking here, too. It started one night. I was feeling like crap when I didn't feel like crap when I went to sleep, but I knew I was going to feel like crap when I woke up in the morning. And sure enough, I felt horrible. And I don't know what it was, but been drinking a lot of cranberry juice, taking some marshmallow and echinacea, and been having Ricola cough drops and whorehounds. Drinking a lot of cranberry juice and some Sprite and some stuff like that. It's been helping me out quite a bit. I'm a lot better now. Back when it started, I could barely function, Yeah, that's about it for having been sick. I'm better now, obviously, as I can actually talk. Before I could barely talk, and I could barely breathe too. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Okay, next topic I was gonna try and talk about was Fallout. I just want to know, you guys, anybody in the audience, Fallout fans, anybody looking forward to Fallout 4? You guys, playing through the first 5 or 6 Fallout games, I can't remember how many there are, to, to get ready for that like I am. Anybody watching my playthrough, who knows? That's something for you guys to think about. I want to ask you guys, are you guys looking forward to Fallout 4? Or any other of the what games are you guys looking forward to? Is what I wanted to ask. And then, I have this written down here. I wanted to talk about some wrestling, but, I haven't watched wrestling in a couple of months, so I was just going to go ahead and say that, okay, here are my problems with WrestleMania 31. Roman Reigns didn't get the belt, because I really like Roman Reigns, and I wanted him to get the belt. And, if he had gotten it, and then if Seth had stolen it from him, rather than intervening in the middle of the match, that would have been good. He could have at least used his rematch to get the belt back later on. Then there's the whole bait and switch the night after that with, saying, oh, Seth Rollins is going to fight Brock Lesnar, and then, no, he's not. I didn't like that. I think that was for the rest of the night. They just had Jerry the King Lawler and Byron Saxton talking because Michael Cole and the other guys had gotten beaten up by Brock Lesnar. And I have to say, and this is nothing against him at all, but Byron Saxton sucks as an announcer. I mean, he is like the lame version of Bradshaw. Is like JBL is like, he's the heel announcer, He roots for the villains and whatnot. But he is fun. He is fun to listen to. Byron Saxton does not have that kind of charisma. I don't know why. But the thing is, he's carried by Jerry the King Lawler and Michael Cole. Michael Cole might not be, that great. But he's better than Byron Saxton. And I especially noticed this during the Undertaker match at WrestleMania, that Michael Cole isn't that great of an announcer. That was the first time I noticed that. But yeah, there's that. The fact that they didn't even bring Jerry Lawler in until after Byron had been flailing around on his own for a while, and just smacks of them not thinking that through all the way. Excuse me. Yeah, they should have just had that rematch there on Raw that night. And then maybe Brock Lesnar loses and then he beats up not Byron. Maybe he beats up Michael Cole after he loses, You could still do that. You can still have that happen. Just don't do the little fake out thing. Or if you do the fake out, don't, do something else. Something else slightly different. Have somebody other than Seth. And I know this is like months down the line, but I'm still a little bit annoyed by that. I'm going to go ahead and say I think it might be time for the Authority to turn face. Because the heel antics that the Authority had at WrestleMania 31 just got old. I mean, the fact that they didn't even have a real match between The Rock and Triple H sucked. The fact that they didn't have a real match between Ronda Rousey and Triple H sucked. The fact that they didn't have a real match between Ronda Rousey and Stephanie sucked. And the fact that they didn't have a real tag team, not a mixed tag team, a real tag team match between Steph, with Steph and Hunter on one side and The Rock and Ronda on the other. That sucked. WrestleMania 31 was really good, though. I'll say that. I've already talked about how I feel about the Royal Rumble. I think that it got boring and then started off good, then got boring, then got better again. Partially thanks to Dean Ambrose, Daniel Bryan, Rusev, and Roman Reigns. And then let's go ahead and say, it is about Fastlane. They should have taken the opportunity at Fastlane to shut Curtis Axel up. Because Curtis Axel going on and on and on and on. That was not good. That annoyed the hell out of me. First it was okay, but then, just stick him in a triple threat match with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. And have Roman do a double finisher and pin both of them. you go. That's how the match goes. Then there's the Miz and Mizdow. I was watching the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and I thought, this is probably a good time for them to turn Miz face. Because heel Miz sucks right now. Heel Miz was fine at first. And I know S. Serpent's been complaining about it for a longer time than I have. But I can see where he's coming from. Miz needs to turn face badly. Because his rivalry with Mizdow has gotten old, and I know I'm working off of information from 3 months ago, but his rivalry with Mizdow got old, and they should have taken the opportunity for him to turn face at WrestleMania. And, what's better? Mizdow first tossing Miz out of the ring and then facing off against Big Show and getting his ass kicked, or the two of them teaming up, being there, being a tag team, and giving it their all. Which gives Big Show the better push? Which gives them the better push, them giving it their all as a team, and then losing, and, taking it like faces would. I lost. Okay, there'll be other matches. And Miz going on to stay a face for a while. And Big Show still winning the Memorial Battle Royal. Or how it was. Which do you guys think would be better? Because I'd rather them have turned Miz face and had them, do their best and then still lose. Because that would have been a better sight to see, I guess. Well, that's gonna do it for this week. We're in like a little over 2 hours, so I'll try and see you again next week at the same time with the Command of Cold Steel. I've got other videos that go up on the channel if y'all wanna check them out. Leave your questions and comments down below. Tell me what you think about the name of the show. Tell me what you think about the thumbnail and everything. And I just like to end the show with this. I don't know your name. I don't know who you are, you trolls. But you can feel free to troll my account. You can feel free to do it. You can try. But it won't work. Anyways, the rest of you, I hope I've entertained you. I hope that I've managed to fill in the gap for S. Serpent while he's getting his thoughts together. I really don't think I ever could. I wouldn't expect to. Because, S. Serpent is awesome, and I don't think I could ever fill his shoes. But I hope you guys have enjoyed it. S. Serpent, if you're listening, I hope you've enjoyed it. I especially hope you've enjoyed it, because, I really just, I feel for you, man. This is not a good place to be in. So, thank you. Bye.